Hi. Right, so you catch me outside Lyons Engineering, which is up in Bryn Mawr. They specialise in cylinder heads. They do other stuff as well, like block work and stuff like that. So why am I up here? I have just dropped off my ST170 cylinder head. If you remember, it overheated before. Coolant hose popped off. It was in the middle of the night, so I couldn't see any steam or anything behind me, so I had no warning until it was already too late. So it's believed that the head has warped itself. So I've brought it up here to get the head skimmed, and just chatting to him now, the gent in there. He reckons that sometimes the valve seats can get distorted, so it could be that. I don't think so. It wasn't steaming or anything like that, or burning it wasn't really burning water in the sense of steam everywhere. It was just low on compression across the board. It was about 75. And of course I did the head gaskets at the time, replaced them with the decom plate, used the same decom plate, which is something I'll come to, and it still was 75 across the board. So he's going to check it, see if it needs a skim, if it's out of tolerance, and if the valves the seats are warped or distorted, and he'll check them if grind them if they need be. But on the way here I did have a thought, and I thought maybe the decom plate distorted and warped, which is a possibility. Less of a possibility because it's been sandwiched, but it's probably the weaker part in the mix, so it's possible that it went. Anyway, so you're probably thinking, well, you've already got a running engine, why are you up here? I didn't really want to broadcast this. It's not something I'm particularly keen to share. It's a bit embarrassing because it was neglect at the end of the day. The 1.8, it turns out it was pinking a lot. And after I set off to go to the Cotswolds area to go to Caffeine and Machine, it was already too late. That 150-mile journey was just too far for it to go in the condition that the map was in. The map suited the ST engine, but for whatever reason, probably the difference in the compression ratio, it didn't suit the 1.8. And it would fall into a bit of a habit of pinking a lot when it was at certain, I'm going to say revs, but it's hard to understand why it was doing it. Every now and then I'd watch the AFRs and it would go well above 20. And I would struggle to get it out of it and get back to a richer state. So either way, what's happened, that 150-mile journey to Caffeine and Machine, it ran fine. But there was a lot of pinking going on, and it's melted something. I reckon, well, no, I don't reckon, I am 100% certain, I take that head off that 1.8, there's going to be a hole in between the valves. So I've kind of killed that head. So instead of getting a new head, 100 quid, 60 quid, 80 quid, whatever, that's 80 quid gasket, bolts. Then I need to take it to the mappers to get the map more suited for the 1.8. That's 180 quid. We're looking at almost 300 quid here. And then I've still got a 1.8 at the end of it. The whole point of this was just to be a quick, cheap way to get it back on the road. So I'm gonna sort the head on the S170 and put that back together. Don't have to change the map. Just replace the head gaskets, skim the head, put it back together, and boom, back to 300 horsepower, back to exactly how I was. So that's why I'm up here. Problem is though, the car is actually still in the Cotswolds. I couldn't drive it home. It was a nightmare. One of the guys, if you watched the last video, he was having clutch problems. When we stopped to help him, I couldn't get it going again. It was actually hydro locking. You try and crank it and it would just lock up, and I was like, God, what the heck? In the end, after trying to bump it, and it was actually locking the wheels up too. It did get going, but it was running out of coolant. The coolant was down to about 45 degrees at one point, and I stopped at a petrol station to fill it back up, and I managed to find some AdBlue containers so I could get home. Problem is then, filled it with water got in the cylinder, didn't want to start, so it's still there. I couldn't get recovery, and now it's a case of I'm going up in a truck tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, I'm going up Thursday in a truck with a hire truck to get it back home. Been quite stressful actually. It's got a tracker on it and I've been watching it like a hawk. Helplessly, because if it got nicked, all I can do is watch it drive away by someone. So the next part of this video is probably going to be me in the recovery truck. So yeah, so that's bringing you up to speed with what I'm doing engine wise. I'm not going to throw that engine away. You know, it's only a head. Replace the head. I've already found a head for it. I haven't bought it yet. Stick that head on it and just put that engine in the garage. Keep it for a future date. Might even end up in my father's Mark 1, who knows. There she is, boys. All the way up to Walsall to get it. Pretty much Birmingham. What? Beggars can't be choosers. It's quite new actually. I'm not exactly unimpressed. The last one I rented was this old Sprinter. It was crap. Crap. So I gotta do another 60 miles down now, back to the Cotswolds to get a car, and then home. Then I come all the way back up to Walsall. Just to bring this back then, and then I can drive home. But this is the most cost-effective way I could come up with. Very excited today, to be honest with you. It's nice to get my car back. All week I've been threatening about it. Just checking the tracker every couple of hours. It's a long Monday. I'm glad I got trackers on it. And the cheap one, the little like decoy one, is quite it's quite good. I haven't even had to use the proper one yet. Got my yums in my hands. I got my yums. Well, here I am. I got my car back. Just driving to the poshest part of the Cotswolds, and I feel so out of place. Too common for this. I tell you what, the last mile was very nerve-wracking. I just kept thinking, what if it's got like the pin switch between, like every panel's been dented? Mad, horrible. Do you want to do that again? So it's loaded up, strapped down and all that. Said my thanks to the Shell workers, because not that they've actually had part to play, but they just didn't mind me there, you know. And I'm back on the road. So I'm playing a fun game now, trying to match the MPG to earlier. Now I got into the tunnel mode. And it's already 27. By the time I got here after doing 55 miles, was still all the way, it was 29. These trucks ain't good on fuel. But I'm not even using a quarter of a tank yet, so yeah, that should keep me entertained for most of the way home. Right, updating a bit.
Swimming, swimming, swimming like a bird.